All right, we're live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to CrossBonesMMA.com's UFC Florida Pre-fight show. I am your host, Eddie Law. With me today from CrossBonesMMA is Jesse Ruvalcaba, and later on, hopefully, if his ass actually gets home, Nick Pilecki will be joining us. How you doing, man?
What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Just I'm not gonna say this. I'm not gonna say I'm counting down the hours to the event, but I'm glancing at the clock every couple hours because I'm not that excited about it. You know, a lot of people want to say, "Oh, these are the cards that end up being the best." You know, when you get 12 guys getting pulled because of visa issues, and you get a bunch of new guys coming in with, kind of not shady records, but the resume is really not there. It makes me think like, oh God, and on top of it, UFC puts the prelims on Fox Sports 2. Okay, yeah. That right there to me was a huge sign of please don't watch this. This is gonna be terrible. Like, what'd you think when you heard about that thing?
Not even on Fight Pass. I was like, man. But honestly, yeah, like I agree. Sometimes you get like some really, really good fights out of these guys because this is their one shot to really do something for the.
Oh, I think we froze. I think you froze for a second. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I gotcha.
All right. But so you were saying that sometimes we get those cards that look kind of crappy and they bring out good fights?
Yeah, I mean, it's their one chance to kind of do something for the promotion. So, sometimes they put on good performances and sometimes they go out there and really put it on the line and, do something fun. But some of these guys, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of names on here that are kind of weird. So let's get right into it, man. The prelims are going to be on Fox Sports 2, like I said, which to me screams, please don't watch this shit. It's going to be terrible. I'm not going to watch it unless I find a stream somewhere online, allegedly, because I'm not paying for Fox Sports 2. They show ping pong and badminton and like cup stacking and shit, okay? It's not worth buying the channel. It is not at all. So if you don't buy it, I don't blame you. Find a stream. Stay on Twitter. Believe me, the fights they don't look that great on the prelims anyway. So let's get right into it. First fight of the night on the prelims, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Danny Martinez takes on Serwan Kakai. Martinez actually had a 2-fight losing streak. Both of those losses in the UFC. All of them all his losses are by decision. And now, here's the thing. When it brings us to the fight, he has pretty good striking. His boxing is pretty solid. His ground game leaves a bit or a lot to be desired, but he's hoping for a stand-up battle tonight. Meanwhile, Kakai, I think he's a Swedish guy. He's a guy making his UFC debut who doesn't mind standing with guys. And the cool part, if you read up on him and if you look up his videos and whatnot, he has pretty good elbows in the clinch. Like, if I'm Martinez, I do not want to clinch with this guy whatsoever. But most of his fights are, wins are by submission. On the feet, though, he's a pretty patient guy. He's not going to get sucked into a brawl. You're not going to see Diego Sanchez against Melendez tonight. He's going to definitely pick his spots and counterpunch. What do you think happens, or what do you think of this fight?
I think this is the opportunity for Martinez to kind of prove what he's got. He's got a pretty okay record, given the amount of fights that he has, 17-6 overall. Kakai, to me, again, what I always stress is the knowing what it's like to be in a promotion like the UFC. That is like a big issue for me. And even though some people come in, undefeated, really highly touted, that whole octagon jitters thing is real. So I'm just gonna have to go with my gut here and say Martinez is gonna win this, even though he's on a 3-fight losing streak. I just, like you said, I just think his boxing, his technique is a lot crisper. And he has the power to pop. He's got the popping power there. I don't think he'll be in too much trouble in the clinch. He seems to avoid taking too much damage for the most part. He's pretty slick with that. So I really see Martinez here doing the thing. Starting off the night kind of slow probably because he's those type of fighters that likes to pitter patter, kind of put on the hurt when he can. But it's probably going to be one of those really long, dragged out fights probably.
Yeah, and as usual, you get out of a guy on a 2-fight losing streak, and it's kind of a reason for it. And then a guy making his UFC debut. Now, like I said, I probably didn't say it in the intro. This is the card of just terrible nicknames. Okay, and we start off the night with these two jackasses. Danny Martinez's nickname is the Gremlin, and Serwan Kakai I'll give him a little bit of credit on this one. His nickname is Zohan, Zohan. All right, sure, your nickname, it probably means something else. It probably came from something completely different. But at the same time, it is a terrible Adam Sandler movie. So let's just hope that these nicknames don't fucking mean that they're going to be shitty fighters. But I'm actually picking the new guy, man. I'm picking Kakai via submission. I just, from watching, watching Martinez, he doesn't show anything. So if Kakai can get past the jitters, because just like, I completely agree with you. Those things are freaking real for sure. UFC jitters are real. But if he can get past it in the first, round or two, I think he takes him maybe a submission or later in the fight or a decision. But I think this fight could just be kind of like throw up in the air, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, making a debut in the UFC, there's no better place than being the first guy on the card because not many people are there, not many people are watching. Some people tune in late, so the pressure's still there, but there's not so much pressure. So I mean, that's really the time to shine because then, maybe later on you put on a great performance. They put you on the main card later on when, someone finishes someone fast. So, you're right. Like the jitters are real, but I mean, that's probably the best place to kind of get over them is being the first guy out there. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting fight. I think both of these guys really do bring different skills to the table, that kind of mesh kind of well. It just depends on how they utilize it against each other. If they're going to use their strength and just clinch with each other, we might have a hug fest. It just depends.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Next fight up, Steve Montgomery against Tony Sims. Montgomery, if anyone recognizes that name, is from Tough 21. He's the guy. Montgomery was on Tough 21. It's this season, this garbage ass season. But he was pulled before he even fought because he suffered a seizure during a bad weight cut. He was pulled from the show. He was promised a shot in the UFC. Later on, apparently 12 guys missing a card because of visa issues is exactly what they're waiting for. Just call this guy up. It's like, hey, we got to fight for you. So let's talk about Montgomery, whose nickname is the Creepy Weasel. The Creepy Weasel. How unfortunate of a nickname do you need? And then on top of it, you have a mullet. Like at some point, man, he's got to catch up to 2015. But anyway, Montgomery's a guy who's still pretty damn rough around the edges. His stand-up is not polished. A good striker or even a solid striker could probably mess him up pretty good. Now, people are going to point to his knockout over Brock Jardine as, proof that he can stand with people. But he was lucky. Jardine shot in for a takedown and ate a knee that I'm not even convinced Montgomery meant to throw. So, anyway, that being said, most of his 8 wins are by knockout or TKO. But it just seems to me that they're all against pretty crappy competition, very low competition. And this is, the stage is a jump for him, but maybe not his opponent so much because Sims, whose nickname is 2.0, come on, people. He's much more solid on the feet than Montgomery is, but he eats a lot of shots while trying to set things up. And he does this thing where he switches stances. It almost seems like for no reason. He just switches stances and then he'll do it again. And then it'll look like he's setting something up, but he really doesn't. So this is kind of the way I see this fight is this could be hilariously good. As in, we could just see something funny in this fight. That's the way I see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the problem here is that, like you said, Tony Sims, he just likes to throw. He likes to throw, his heavy haymakers. Likes to just. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like he's even thinking about setting everything up. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, I could throw this. Oh yeah, I could throw that, and then he just throws it. The thing about him, though, is that he's got 9 wins either by TKO or KO. So, I mean, he's got the power. He's got the power to pop. And I think that's what's going to help him win this fight against, Mr. Creepy Weasel. Because, man, that's terrible for weasels all around, man. Yeah, like you said, Montgomery, he's really, really sloppy. And I think to be in the UFC, you can't be as sloppy as he is. He's real like jittery is how I see it. Like it's not like him reacting. It's almost like him kind of like trying to avoid getting damaged, and he kind of throws something out there. Like it's not like instinctive. It's reactive, and like those reactive shots that he does is really not good. It's really kind of like someone that's really learning how to strike initially, and it's kind of like just throwing stuff out to defend themselves from taking too much damage. And for what it looks like, it looks really, really sloppy. Unfortunately, he has an okay record, an okay enough record to get into this fight here. But I mean, I think if you look at the people that he beat, like you said, they're really subpar fighters. I mean, some of them have really abysmal records. You know, just it's almost like they've been propping this guy up for something, who knows for what reason. You know, honestly, he likes to grind away with his crappy style of striking. But yeah, I think Sims here is just gonna land one of those heavy haymakers that he likes to throw from somewhere and probably knock him out. So gonna put out the weasel.
All right, I'm actually picking Montgomery via I'm gonna say decision. I was gonna say TKO at like the end, at the last second of the third round, but I can't give him a finish, man. I just can't. I'm gonna give Montgomery a decision based on the fact that he's probably gonna think he could take down Sims and just hug him to a win, which I think is what's gonna end up happening. But yeah, dude, this could be hilariously good. Let's just hope they decided to just stand and throw against each other, because either someone's gonna go to sleep or this could just get funny. And I love funny, so I can't wait to see. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this fight. Anyway,
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on here. Leandro Silva taking on Luis Gonzalez. If you guys remember Leandro Silva, he was the recipient of a win courtesy of ref and apparently good friend and training partner of his, Eduardo Herdy. If you guys remember, Herdy stopped the fight against Drew Dober when Dober was clearly okay. He was in a guillotine, but he was getting out. He was still, up. He was still aware, defending the choke. He hadn't tapped, and for some reason, Herdy calls the fight and gives Leandro Silva the win. And I don't know if you remember, but I remember hearing that he got overturned. Do you remember that?
Yeah, actually, I looked it up. It got overturned, but it's a no contest now instead of a win. Still, a crappy decision. I mean, it was like, and what makes it even worse is that the ref supposedly knows jiu-jitsu. So anybody that knows jiu-jitsu watching at home, anybody that watched that knew exactly that he was never in trouble. Dober was not even close to being in trouble. So I don't know. Like you said, I mean, he must have slipped him a couple bills from his win bonus for that one.
So it's something out of it. But anyway, so if you want to see that, YouTube the shit out of it. I'm sure it's everywhere. It's completely horrible. You want an example of bad reffing? That, and I think he had one more crappy decision that night too. So look those up. Regardless, Silva has actually pretty good grappling, solid striking, and he has the ability to put together pretty decent combos and enough to win fights. And Gonzalez is a stand-up fighter with good power, and he's a pressure guy. But from what I see, it just looks like he has a tendency to gas out a little bit. And his taking down defense is abysmal. It's not even good. It's bad, right? So this looks like it's a prime opportunity for Silva to take this thing to the ground. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Luis Lethal Gonzalez. I mean,
Jesus
he's not
Christ.
very lethal. But he brings excitement. His fight with Luis Palomino, a guy that just is exciting all around. That was a good fight. Lost. But to me, he kind of redeemed himself in the whole gassing area when he fought Justin Buckles, his last fight at World Series of Fighting. I mean, he proved that he had the ability to, be taken down, stand in the pocket with people. Like, he proved a lot to me in that fight. And it's really hard for me to say that he's going to win this fight. I'm kind of leaning towards him, but like very, very lightly. The only thing, like you said, Silva, he's a submission specialist. That's his thing. And I think he has like 7 or 8 rear neck choke stoppages. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's what I think is going to happen here. More than likely, he's gonna take him down and somehow get him in a rear naked choke and put him to sleep. This guy.
Yeah. Joining us late, but at least joining us. Better late than never, Mr. Nick Pilecki. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man?
We're actually talking about this Leandro Silva against Luis Gonzalez fight in the prelims. Like we were saying, just like both of us said, me and Jesse, the submission game on Silva is pretty good. It's actually fucking good. So I think this fight's going to go to the ground, and Silva's going to end up picking up the submission. While the fight's going to be good on the feet, Silva knows his W depends on taking this to the ground. Nick, what do you think on this fight?
I got to agree with you, Eddie. I think it's going to be a submission match. It's going to be one of those matches, and I think Silva's going to end up taking it by sub. Most of his wins are by sub, actually. I think 10 of his 17 fights are submission-based.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's going to be taking it by submission.
All right. So yeah, and again, we continue with the horrible nicknames. This one is actually I'll give Leandro credit. Buscape, I have no idea what it means, but Luis Lito Gonzalez sounds like a shitty local nickname. Cut it out, dude. You need to stop. Talk to your teammates. Tell them to help you out a little bit. That's a terrible nickname. Anyway, and Nick, if you missed the other ones, we had the Gremlin by Danny Martinez in the first fight, and of course Creepy Weasel from Steve Montgomery, and Tony 2.0 Sims. It's just terrible attempts at nicknames. I'm pretty sure they named themselves. But yeah, but here we come to one a guy that stole a nickname seems, and a guy with a shitty nickname, and Alex Cowboy Oliveira taking on Joey/Merritt. Work on that, fellas. Anyway, Oliveira's coming up a nice, Oliveira's coming up a nice win over KJ Noons. Dude is a striker. He's got everything you could want: power, accuracy, a ground game on top of all that. Merritt is an undefeated fighter coming into his UFC debut, and they put him against the killer, which makes me feel really bad for Joey Slash, but he is undefeated. But damn, still, talk about unfair. You get Oliveira your first fight. His best chance is to throw hard shots and try to get into the clinch where he actually can do some pretty good damage. But still, it just looks like they're feeding Merritt to the wolves, man. What do you think about that, Jesse?
Man, again, this is one of those probably by circumstances that, like, who's ready to go, and Joe Merritt's like, I am, and they're like, okay, we got a Cowboy over here, and he's like, well, maybe not then, but I don't know, I'm picking here, and I wrote it down. I'm gonna go with Joe Merritt. He's gonna win this, just because he's got the striking advantage here. Cowboy likes to strike. From his one of his fights, not the last one, but the one before that. I think he lost that one. He just wants to be exciting, and I think it's gotten in his ear where, like, the more exciting you are, the more they're gonna push you, and the more you're gonna be up there on the card. And I think that's gonna work against him here in this fight. Just because Joe Merritt has those I think all six of his fights, all six of his wins are all either by KO or TKO. So I mean, he comes to finish, and with an opportunity like this, where coming in, trying to keep his face all pretty, I'm sure he's just gonna try to finish this real easy and just cash his check and go. So yeah, Oliveira though, he's kind of a puzzle to me. I want him to just kind of stop trying to be exciting and just use his skills. I mean, because he's got skills. He definitely has all the skills he needs to win pretty much any fight he wants. It's just that whole, like, trying to be too exciting and trying to be too flashy. So, Joe Merritt. So, that's my underdog pick, I think.
All right, Nick, what do you think about this Cowboy against Joey Slash, who does have a model face? I'll give him that.
No, I'm actually torn between this fight. I like Alex Oliveira. His first loss in the UFC, I believe, was Gilbert Burns. He lost by submission, but then he came up and ended up putting a good performance against KJ Noons, who's a great striker. He's a great kickboxer. And I don't know, dude. This is going to be one of the good fights. Joey Merritt is a great striker. As you see, all his fights, like Jesse said, have been knockouts. He's 6-0, and he's 100% knockout power. I think it's going to go either way. If whoever wants to be more, I think Alex is going to come out to try to entertain the crowd, and either he's going to get clipped or he's going to be smart and say, I don't want to get knocked out because this guy is 6-0 and they are all knockouts. I'm going to take him to the ground and I'm getting the submission win. I'm kind of pulling for Alex Oliveira. I kind of want to see Alex Oliveira win. I think he'll win by sub. If not, he's getting clipped and getting dropped really, really early.
All right. Here's the thing. The way I see this fight, and I completely get Jesse's point that Merritt is a guy that wants to come in and I'm impressed with the fact that all his fights are by finish, by knockout or TKO. But I just think Oliveira is about to show what he's really made of, and I agree completely that he is a guy I want to put on a show. He's a win bonus hunter, dude. He wants that bonus, for performance of the night and whatever else. And I think he's gonna do just that. He's gonna do that tonight. I got Oliveira be a what the fuck not fair knockout, and we'll find out. I mean, could be wrong, but I got Oliveira winning this fight for sure. All right, so that's gonna be your prelims right there. Start with the main card on Fox Sports 1. By the way, again, prelims Fox Sports 2, which means the UFC does not want you to watch this shit. Fox Sports 1 is the main card. Starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, with number 14, Hakran Diaz, taking on Levin Makashvili. I'm going to put it out there right now. This fight, highly unlikely it's going to be exciting. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be exciting. This is a matchup of two less-than-average strikers. Diaz is a grappler, and Makashvili is a wrestler. You know, this should just be – it's going to be two guys rolling around the ground, and it'll likely be a decision unless somehow they just go, you know, they throw all fucks on the wall and say, you know what, let's just stand, don't even bother going to the ground. This card is weak to try to get a fight of the night bonus. Nick, what do you think?
I have to agree. I think it's going to be a ground match, but I'm going to go with Makashvili. I think he's going to just get a decision when he's going to take him down, just hold him, ground and pound, try to get a sub or TKO. But it's like you said, it's not going to be that entertaining fight.
Yeah, Jesse, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually think though, if you watched Makashvili's last fight, it actually was one of those fights that was actually showed you a lot of what he can do. I mean, it was a split decision win, Mark Edivia or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it was a good fight, and it proved a lot to me. I really wasn't feeling Makashvili at that time, but you know, I kind of, you know, I'm gonna ride the train here, and I'm gonna go with his. I think he's gonna finish this fight. I think they're starting off the main card here, and I think they've got the pressure of putting on something exciting for the crowd, and I think they're going to deliver here. I think Makashvili is the one that's going to pull out the win here, maybe a KO or a TKO. He has the ability to do it, so we'll see. But, I mean, the thing with Hakran Diaz, unfortunately, is I think they brought him along too fast. I mean, he's got what? He was on a 9-fight win streak before he ran into Nick Lentz, who was, you know, surging at that time. Then he ran into Ricardo Lamas. Not a good time for him. So I mean, and then they gave him Darren Elkins, which he won. So I mean, his performances are good, but you know they're just not there. He's not at that level yet, and I think Makashvili just might be able to edge him out here in the striking.
Yeah, I think Makashvili has a really, really good chance at winning the fight, and I mean, Makashvili has some striking. But, I mean, that's the way I see the styles, man. They're not going to stand. I don't think they're going to stand. But I do agree there is that pressure to be the first fight on the main card, the first fight that everybody is going to be tuning in is going to watch, not just the Fox Sports 2 people. So, but I'm going to take Mr. Diaz just on the fact that he had a full fight camp. Makashvili is coming in late notice, and it's going to be one of those things where you wonder if Makashvili has just a natural cardio and whatever to stay with Diaz. And if Diaz even bothered training, you never know. You know, if you watch the Cain Velasquez fight, you got a lot of questions. But just to throw that in there. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the nicknames here, Alex a Cowboy Oliveira stole that, and Joey/Merritt sounds like a video game. So moving on here to the next fight, Thiago Santos is going to take on Steve Bossy, I think is how you say it. Now, Santos is he's a violent guy. He throws bombs. He's one of those guys that I think he's off the first Tough Brazil. He's a fun guy to watch because he wants the craziest fight possible, it seems like. What's that?
Second, Brazil.
Oh, second?
Brazil.
Okay. Yeah. So he's off of one of the tough shows for sure, the second one. Anyway, so he's a fun guy to watch because he kind of gets a little wild. And Bossy's a former hockey player, which tells you he's going to ooze toughness. And you can YouTube his fights on ice. Apparently they're out there. I saw maybe one, I think. And the dude's a bad motherfucker, man, for sure. But his defense on the feet is bad. Like, it's almost like any shot you send at him, he's going to eat, and it's not a good a good thing to have in MMA against a guy like Thiago Santos who's going to throw hard with every shot. What do you think about this matchup here, Jesse?
Man, it's tough because you know you got Steve here, 10-1, 8 first-round finishes. I mean, 8-fight win streak here. I mean, he's got one submission. Ooh, you know, an ankle lock. Mm-hmm. You know, against a guy that really was all striking. But, I mean, like you said, I mean, he's the tough guy. He's the epitome of MMA tough guy, where he's just going to come in, he's going to throw them fists until somebody falls down, or he gets caught, or he gets taken down, and then he's screwed. But Santos, the thing that I don't like about Santos is that he's been trading wins and losses here in the UFC. You know, yeah, he ran into Uriah Hall. Yeah, that's a tough break. And then he lost to Cesar Ferreira. But then he goes and beats Honey Marks, who's really, really good. So I just don't know where Thiago Santos is. You know, like he does good against somebody, does bad against somebody. Does good, does bad. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. So if I'm going to go with what he's been doing recently, I think he's going to end up losing here just because he kind of brain farts it, and, Boss is just going to hit him with one of those, haymakers and put him down because that's what he does, So that's how I see this, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one. That Boss is a guy that's gonna just throw and wherever they land, they land. Nick, what do you think of this fight?
Same again. I'm torn between this fight. You have Steven, whatever his name is making his UFC debut. It's his first time in the UFC. Those octagon jitters are a thing, in my opinion, and I think that's gonna. He's like you said, he's a former hockey player. Used to be playing in front of crowds forever. Most of his wins are by knockout or TKO. But Santos, like Jesse said, he beat Honey Marks. He ended up losing to Uriah Hall by decision, which Uriah Hall is a monster. He went to go that whole fight. He was slugging for him, trying to get the knockout, and he just could not get it. And then he beat Andy Entz. So I'm going to go with Santos on this one. I think he's going to go for the knockout. He's going to go for that show. And wants to make a name for himself. So I'm going to go with Santos on this one just because Steve, it's his first time in Octagon. He's going to have those jitters. We'll see him back in there, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure he'll get an awesome knockout or good finish, but I don't think it's his time yet.
All right, so here's what I got on this one. I think Santos is going to get a TKO. He's going to have fun picking a Boss apart. But if it turns – this one, obviously, this one has the potential – to be a brawl fight, right? There's two guys just throwing bombs, see what happens. This has the potential to be a fun fight to watch, so keep an eye on this one for sure, I think. All right, moving on here to the next fight. We have Antonio Carlos Jr. against Eddie Gordon. Carlos Jr.'s nickname is cara. Let me get it right because I know it's Portuguese. Cara de zapato, which is basically shoe face. Yeah, shoe face. Taking on Eddie Truck Gordon. I don't know what that might be the most original nickname on this entire card is Truck and Shoeface. So anyway, so Shoeface is he's a sneaky quick striker. He can pop with his right hand real quick. His right hand's actually pretty underrated. I mean, he looks fast, but he's not a polished fighter guy yet. He's also off the Tough Brazil, one of the Tough Brazils. I think the most recent one. Not the one that's on now, the one with Sonnen and Vanderlei. But anyway, he's got some tricks up his sleeve, including a very solid ground game that can catch anybody by surprise. Now, Eddie Gordon, what can you say about Eddie Gordon, man? He's a wrestler. Now, he's lost 2 in a row, and with a loss tonight, very likely to be Bellator bound, since they're pretty much picking up anybody with UFC in their resume. I mean, we heard Josh Koscheck last night signed by Bellator. But I'm really pulling for him. He's a good guy. But I hate to say it, I hate to say that it looks like he's hit his ceiling, right? He's hit his limit. He hasn't shown any growth whatsoever. And it's really hard to pick him in this fight, but what do you think, Nick?
I'm going against Eddie Gordon. I don't think he's going to be – he's coming from the Serra-Longo camp. That camp is full of monsters. I don't know how you're not learning from those monsters. I don't know how you're not breaking the ceiling like everyone else in that camp is doing. Maybe if he changed camps because maybe they're just focused on Al and all them over there. But – like you said, it's hard for him to break that ceiling. He's on a two fight losing streak. He is Bellator bound in my opinion. But Carlos Jr. he's decent. He's young. He's 25. He's growing with the sport. He's coming off a loss against Patrick Cummings, who I wrestled him to death the whole time. So I think it's time for him to shine. I think he's going to come out here and try to show that, hey, I'm here, I'm young, and I want to grow at the UFC. This is what I have by defeating Eddie Gordon.
All right, Jesse, who you got in this one?
Man, I have to clap for Nick here. I mean, honestly, it's true. I mean, anybody that has watched Eddie Gordon's fights, his first fight was awesome. He did exactly what the Longo camp was telling him to do. They were yelling at him. He was doing it, everything. And then I saw him fight Josh Saman. I was there in that arena, and man, that was brutal. And I mean, I came home, I watched it again on TV, and it was just because he wasn't doing what they were telling him to do. He was winning that fight, and he just got sloppy. His next loss, again, he gets a little bit of steam going, and he just gets sloppy. He gets lazy or he gets tired. I really don't know what it is with him. Maybe it's just he's carrying around too much weight. all that muscle. Who knows? But I mean, it's really hard to pick Eddie Gordon here. I mean, like you said, I mean, Antonio Carlos Jr. He's got the skills. He's so like he's one of those diamond in the roughs where you can see it. You can see the moments that shine through that like he puts on impressive performances. So I just can't pick against him. The only thing is that this is his first time at middleweight. So that might be the only like little thing to look at. But I mean, it's hard to pick Eddie Gordon here just because of everything that he's been going through. Knockout, severe knockout, and then his last loss. So I'm going with Junior here. So.
All right. I'm also going with Carlos Jr. via submission here. It's I hate to say it, man. Eddie Gordon's a good dude. He's a guy that you cheer for. You want him to be successful, but he's gonna have to do something else, find an extra gear to learn something different and evolve as a fighter. Otherwise, he stays the same. As we know, MMA is a game that changes almost monthly, if not quicker. And so he's gonna have to pick it up at some point. I don't think he does it tonight though, and I really don't think he stays in the UFC very much longer. So I am picking Carlos Jr. via submission. Anyway, moving on here to the co-main event, Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Lawrence Larkin. Now Santiago is and just to stay with the pattern here, Santiago Genteboa. He's Argentinian. That's Spanish. So I think that's right. Anyway, and then Lawrence Larkin's the Monsoon. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Santiago Ponzinibbio is a power puncher. Every shot he lands hurts, or at least it looks like it hurts. He also has a sneaky high kick from his right leg that he likes to hide behind combinations. He's good on the feet, and he's good at getting up after being taken down. The one thing he doesn't want to do, though, is get on his back or get taken down and put on his back at all. His submission game off his back is not good, at least not that I see anywhere, as far as researching his career. Larkin, on the other hand, Larkin has speed. He has power. He has quickness. He has really good takedown defense, I think. He has it all. He has everything except consistency. He's the definition of a guy who doesn't pull the trigger. You're literally screaming at him to do something. He prefers to land big shots, kind of like Oliveira, as Jesse was talking about. He'd rather have big shots and little flashy things and one-hit knockouts instead of staying active during the fight, and that is why he loses fights. Nick, what do you think about this fight between Larkin and Ponzinibbio?
You basically summed it up for me. Larkin's that guy that it looks like he doesn't plan for the fights. It looks like I'm just going to go out, I'm just going to slug, I'm going to try to get this knockout. Oh, I didn't get it, and then he'll freeze. And you don't know what he's going to do next. Santiago, on the other hand, he's growing with the sport. He's very smart. He's a very smart fighter. I like him, but I think it's going to be Lorenzo Larkin's time. I think it's his time to finally come out and say, hey, it's my turn. Let me try to do this. Santiago's young. He's growing with the sport, like I said. He's coming off a 2-fight win streak. One was a knockout, one was a decision. But I think Lorenzo Larkin is going to do this. I think that's going to be my one underdog of the night, like my one huge underdog. So I'm going to go with Lorenzo Larkin.
All right, Jesse, what do you think about this fight?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, this fight's a lot closer, I think, than a lot of people are saying. The only thing is that, like you said, inconsistency with Larkin. I mean, he was on a 3-fight losing streak, probably on his way out. Then he came in and beat John Howard. I mean, another guy that I'm not sold on either. A lot of people are sold on John Howard. I'm not. I don't think he's worth the hype. But like you said, I mean, Larkin, he looks for those epic finishes. I mean, 9 KO wins, 7 first-round finishes. He just likes to get in there and get out. Not really one of those likes to punch in the clock and really put in the time and, really grind somebody out or something or be in like a little a war in there for 15 minutes. So that's why I think Ponzinibbio is going to win this fight. His last fight really impressed me as well. He just showed he was good all around. I mean, he was good on the feet, good on the ground. Like he was able to really maneuver out of a lot of things. Got taken down, I think, in that fight. Really showed a lot of potential. I mean, like you said, he's not the best off his back. Kind of looked like a turtle at times, but I mean, he was able to defend himself, not take too much damage, and still pull out victories. So I think he's gonna be able to take this fight. I mean, I have to see more from Larkin. Like you guys said, I mean, he has to just get in there and just really fight. He just has to fight. once he starts to really get comfortable, loose, and start really just fighting in there, then I'll be able to put more stock in him, but not at this point.
All right, I'm actually gonna go. I think Larkin is he's gonna look for a flashy win. I think he's gonna get it tonight. This is just a feeling. I have no logical explanation for it, but I'm gonna take Larkin be a knockout. This fight should stay on the feet, and Larkin will hopefully stop being lazy and actually fight up to his potential for once. And it might just be, I might just be wishy here, but I'm hoping to see something big from Larkin. All right, moving on to the main event of the evening, the one fight everyone recognizes. We have two guys that everyone recognizes. Number 4, Lyoto Machida, in the middleweight division, by the way. Number 4, Lyoto Machida taking on number 6, Yoel Romero. Lyoto's coming off an ass whooping at the hands of middleweight contender Luke Rockhold in a fight where Machida did not look very good. Now, there's a lot of excuses being put out there, hitting the back of the head or something or other. I don't know exactly what he came out with. I can't read excuses too much. It gets really irritating to listen to from a guy I respect so much, and like a guy in Machida. But he looked slow to me. He looked physically beat down, and people started to wonder. Like literally during the fight against Rockhold, you on Twitter, people were like, they're saying Lyoto's not elite anymore. He's not an elite fighter anymore. I don't agree with that. But in this fight, he's gonna take on a very physical guy. I mean, super physical guy, Yoel Romero. We know what Machida brings. Now Romero brings incredible power. He has great takedown defense. Prefers to stay on the feet and strike. To me, it's a very difficult fight for Machida. But we've seen him take on wrestlers before, and we've seen him pull off wins. Jesse, Machida against Romero, what do you think happens?
Man, this is tough because I'm a big Machida fan. I really thought that if he just pushed a little bit more in that fight against Chris Weidman, maybe started a little bit earlier in that fight, we probably would have had Lyoto Machida as the champion at this point. But, man, after that performance against Rockhold, I mean, I think it just showed that Machida's kind of been through too many of those fights where he just is starting to get hit a little bit too much. And the thing is that Romero, he was an Olympian as a wrestler, right, for Cuba or something, or was it judo?
It was judo or no, judo was Hector Lombard.
Oh, okay, so it was wrestling. Right?
Yeah, let me look it up while you keep going.
But I mean, again, it's that caliber of person. There's only certain types of people that become Olympic athletes. The only thing I do not like about Romero is how tired he always gets in that, like, the later part of the first round and second round. He looks like he just can't even go no more. But he pushes through and he wins. So I mean, he likes to knock people out. He's got one decision on his record. I mean, I'm gonna go Romero here. I think he's catching Machida at the end of his career. I think that's what we're gonna see here. A lot of people might say that Machida just has all the excuses, got elbowed in the back of the head, was injured coming into that Rockhold fight. I don't think so. I think we're just seeing Machida, who's very reliant on his speed and his twitch muscles and everything to really counter-strike people. I think we're just seeing him slow down, and I think that's just the natural progression of the sport. Is eventually people just don't have it anymore, and I think Romero is going to catch Machida at the right time.
All right, and yes, Romero was in the Olympics as a freestyle wrestler. So, and I think looks like he was a silver medalist. So he's no joke on the ground. But yeah, I agree with what you said right there. Except for maybe the pick. I gotta think about my pick still. This is one of the fights where it was hard for me to pick. I'm either a fan or I gotta look at it as kind of the way you did. But Nick, Yoel Romero against Lyoto Machida. Last time we saw Romero was against Tim Kennedy. And we had all that controversy with the stool and all this crap. What do you think happens in this fight?
I don't know. I'm like you said. I think all three of us are fans of Lyoto Machida. I am a fan of Lyoto Machida, but I think Jesse put in a great light. He's coming down to his end of his career. He's been in the UFC I think since 2007. He's been fighting the elite, the top fighters forever now, and I think we're watching his career slowly come to an end. I think Romero's going to end up taking it, unless Machida does keep his distance, just keep it at his pace, tire Romero out, and end up finishing it or getting a decision. But I think Romero's going to end up clipping him and rocking him and end up finishing the fight. So I'm going to go with Romero.
All right. So here's my view on this. This is Lyoto's. How can I put this? Remember Arlovsky against Travis Brown, right?
Yep.
where he put him down, and then while Brown was still knocked out, he put Arlovsky down. Arlovsky came back and won anyway. The wildest fight ever. That's not gonna happen tonight, but that put Arlovsky in a title fight. At least to talk. Apparently, the rumor is right now that Stipe is gonna fight against Verdun for the title. But with the Arlovsky thing, I think it's what the rumor was, right? Just before we keep going here, so we don't give out bad information.
You're right.
Yeah? Okay. Anyway, so Arlovsky's got this thought now where everyone's talking about, oh, he's back. He championed in 2000, whatever. His first heavyweight champion. In 2015, he's going to fight for the title again at some point. I think this is where we're going to find out whether Lyoto Machida has anything left or if Jesse's right. Is he at the end of his career? Is Romero going to handle him? Look, Lyoto's fought other wrestlers before. He's beat plenty of wrestlers. He's lost to a few, but he's beat plenty of them. He knows how to beat those guys. But can his body take all that punishment? He's fought only high-level guys. He's fought barely any. If you look at his resume, barely any low-level guys. All the guys that he's fought, high-level fighters. No chumps almost whatsoever. So, he comes another elite wrestler that's coming at him. And I think tonight we find out whether Lyoto's career is almost over or he's going to have some kind of resurgence where we see him continue to be an elite athlete, an elite fighter, and maybe making just one more run at a title soon before finally calling it quits. But I'm gonna go with Lyoto Machida, man. And I think he's gonna go old school Lyoto. I think he's gonna go old school Lyoto with the flurries and the runaway. I think that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna take a big decision. I hope he gets a finish. But like I said, this is a hard one for me to pick because I like Lyoto a lot. But I don't know. I was gonna pick Yoel Romero for the record, but I have to go with Machida just for the fact that I'm hoping he's got something left. I really do. But that's it for the cards. Nick, are you gonna be watching this card?
Yes, I am. I'm actually off for the night. I'm gonna be watching the prelims at home and then going to a local wing place to watch the rest of the fights.
There you go. And Jesse, you watching at home? Or you going out?
I'm gonna record them because I've got like my nieces and nephews here, so I'm gonna go back out there and go. Probably swim in the pool or throw some water balloons around.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Hot over here, so.
I know about that, man. Arizona's 115 plus degrees right now, so it sucks right now. I'm probably gonna miss the prelims unless I find a stream, but I'll be watching the main card, at least a Machida fight. And that's I don't know. Let's hope we're wrong and this card doesn't suck. All right, let's hope.
I don't think it's gonna suck. I think it's one of the cards that everyone on the card has something to prove, and those are always the best cards. So it might be one of those cards.
All right, well, let's hope so. Anyway, that's gonna be it for our pre-fight show. You can follow Nick at NickXMicro. Follow Jesse over at SPWAT1983 on Twitter. If you missed the explanation of that, go back a few episodes. You can figure it out. And you follow me at Elo31. Follow the page at CrossBonesMMA. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CrossBonesMMA. And the page is relaunched with a new design. It's a new look. It's CrossBonesMMA.com. Go check it out. We have a forum. Sign up for it and just yap away about MMA. And that's going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Later.